All right, Rob, let's check out a little bit of your run here. First off, yeah, the clip was pretty large, so I actually had some trouble getting it into this analysis app, and we had to make it a little bit lesser quality, so kind of hard to zoom in, unfortunately. But in any event, let's take a look at some of the stuff here. Let's watch it first a little bit in slow motion. What I look for in good skiing is being in the front of the boot, having angles, producing angles, having motion and a pole plan. And you definitely have some good angles. Pole plan's inconsistent or non-existent sometimes. And we need a little more motion. Motion meaning not necessarily up and down, but just, moving through the transition, moving to the new ski, getting our hips up over the boots at the top of the turn. And particularly right footers or turns to the left need some work. But let's take a look here. As you can kind of see, it's kind of staticky. You don't see a whole lot of really taking it down the hill, moving forward through the transition. Get our hips up over the boots, as I said, and um, a little more just kind of static. Um, all right, so let's back this up a bit. All right, so we talked about, we'll get to motion in a second, but while we're on the topic, arms. All right, so arms have to be three rules. Hands have to be in front of above the waist. Hands should be a little bit wider than the elbows, and elbows in front of the torso. And like I said, hard to zoom in here, but I mean you can see, elbows are really behind you, and it has to do for whatever reason really on this side. Um, you can see over here on left footers, they're pretty good. Elbows in front of the body or torso. Um, but on this side, you kind of yank them back. You see right there, they're at your sides or almost, your inside one is behind you. Um, so we got to get them in front of you. Helps us get in the front of the boot. Um, arms weigh probably 10% of your body, and you put them out in front, and that's, more weight out in front and loading up the front of the ski better. So we got to move the arms forward consistently on both sides. Um, Obviously, the pole plant, it's going to be tough to see here, but arms are back, and there really isn't one on this side. So when should the pole plant occur? It should occur at the end of the turn. Helps us get recentered, rebalance. It's timing to move forward through the transition with our hips and move to the new ski. We're looking to move, to the new ski as soon as possible. Um, so in this transition, we should be moving forward, get our center of mass over the new ski, which would, in this case, be your left ski during this transition, and then kind of move along that ski and get the hips up over the boots. And you can see here, those hips never really come forward, kind of always staying back. Now this side, hands are better. I think there's a pole plant, but it's hard to really see. But, I think a pole plant, if you have one on that side, it's a little late. I mean, it should happen right now. That's when the pole plant happens, in that position. But, yeah, not a whole lot of motion moving forward there either. But you do it in some turns. Let's see through here. Looks like you're starting a pole plant, but it's, again, a little late. We want that pole plant right now. And there you got motion up. Now you have your hips up over the boots. That's what we want to see. So it happens going into, our or coming out of, if you will, coming out of your turns to the right or left footers. But then we make this right footer, arms go way back, elbows behind you, no pole plant, and you can see the hips are back, and they stay back the whole way. This side, hands come forward, and you can see you got movement. Now your hips are up over the boots, and that's where you want to be. Now you're in the front of the ski. We do want a consistent width, and it looks like you narrowed your feet a little bit. So let's make sure that we keep a consistent width even through the transition. And most important, because that tends to be where people will narrow it. And now it's hard to really, at the top of the turn here, get the skis up on edge. Hard to see. You actually just widened them yourself, but that's unnecessary. So let's keep a consistent width of the skis through the transition also. You can see here, you're dropping the hands too. Another rule besides elbows in front of the torso is hands above the waist, and breaking there. No real pole plant to speak of, as we talked. This side, and those hips just never come forward. Hands a lot better over there. Not really much of a pole plant either, but we do move forward. You get your hips up over the boots on this side, so it's kind of interesting. Your turns to the right or left footers, get better hands. Maybe a pole plant here or there, but we need that earlier. When you come out of that turn, you move forward. You get your hips up over the boots, and then your next turns, the right footers, hands go back. No pole plant, and you stay back. So, what does it start with? I don't know. Maybe it's like, you get your arms back and elbows almost behind you without that pole plant. It's hard to get out of that position. So maybe just hang in it. So I think, moving the hands forward in the pole plant, a nice forward pole plant could get you to have some movement. And really, I don't know if you've ever tried double pole plants, but those are awesome. Double pole plants, clearly, they help us in GS move forward in the transition. And slalom, it helps us be really square down the hill and move forward. So try double pole planting on both sides. I mean, that should be a drill for you, and and something that you clearly want to be doing. You need every trick in the books. It's something you want to be doing anyway. What else could you work on for movement is just take one pole, ski with one pole, but kind of pass it like a baton at the end of your turn behind you, helps you move forward. Now, the risk of this is we're not looking to go stand up tall. We're looking to move forward with the hips. But it helps if you really concentrate on this drill, passing the pole behind you like a baton in the beginning of the transition. But make sure you are not standing tall in order to get the pole behind you, but moving the hips forward. It's called the Swissy drill. You can probably just Google Swissy drill, find it anyway. But I tell you, it makes some nice turns anyway. I mean, and tracks don't lie. Here's, nice carved turn. Obviously, clean tracks. And, those are pretty good.